Hello everybody and welcome to our wish list for the Survivor class here during Survivor Week. This is our list video where we're going to talk about, you guessed it, our wish list. Did you know list is in the word wish list? You had to have, okay, good.
I did.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't.
Oh,
This is
well,
news to me.
you know, it's always fun to learn something new.
Yeah.
That's the best part of living. So, let's dive in and talk about here, gaggle from all of us. First one I got here is more cards like baseball bat and hunting rifle and support for those cards.
I love these. I should have suggested this.
So baseball bat and hunting rifle have a unique condition to them where they will have a negative trigger if you reveal a skull or an auto-fail symbol. And to balance that is they actually are pretty good for their level, right? Like hunting rifle in other classes would probably be 4 XP. Baseball bat in other classes would probably be 1 XP, right? If they didn't have that little like break thing on them.
Yeah.
I also like them because they're very flavorful too.
Hit me also falls in this category.
Yes, hit me as well, yeah. And like what I would love is for more of these type of weapons. I think Survivor weapons are still actually, apart from things like fire extinguisher, are still very well designed, right?
Yeah.
Like we got the pitchfork that sticks into the location. We have the hatchet that sticks in the enemy, right?
Yeah, the low experience stuff is really good. And as
Yeah.
you get to the 3, 4, 5, it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah, there's not like too much. Yeah, like chainsaw is basically just like
It's
a
a
gun.
guardian. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
a guardian.
It's
Yeah.
just a gun.
They lied.
And then fire extinguisher is just like machete with an evade
It's a
that
guardian
people usually
weapon.
don't do because again, it's just machete. But then there is like I think like more random household items or like an old hunting rifle that is just like something that you just find in a shed. Like that Survivor feeling is just you grab the first thing you find. Everyone else was prepared and you're like, here is my baseball bat. And I really like that from like a thematic thing for this. And like I don't know for support cards, but like maybe there was ways that you could like it's like token manipulation, but you're like trying to do the bad thing to have an extra positive effect happen as well.
We do have like actually a fair bit of token manipulation from like Innsmouth Conspiracy and stuff, like thrice times
Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm. Yeah, third time's a charm. Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Wendy also supports that.
yeah. So there's already kind of like
There is
a
some background
precedent
there
for it. Yeah.
You know, it'd be really nice, really neat if they got like a clue getting item or something like that. So you investigate, and then if you reveal a symbol token during the test, you get an extra clue. But if you draw auto fail or the skull, then it breaks.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah.
A couple
Shitty
experience.
Yeah, like a shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually just card title.
Yeah, shitty flashlight. I would
Almost dead
love to
flashlight.
see them print that. Yeah.
What's this one called? It's called Shitty Flashlight.
Low
Print
battery
it.
flashlight. It's just flashlight with one supply
I
that
don't
costs 1 to play.
I mean, like, I think that they could honestly just take, like, for example,
Dull
like-
machete.
yeah, like a machete or like even like a 45 automatic and just make it Survivor, right? Just be like dull machete, right? Like
Yeah, no attack
beat it up
bonus for it.
45 automatic, right? Like I feel like that would actually be a really interesting way, and then add on a little bit of this like skull or auto fail thing to it.
Yeah. That would actually be like a neat taboo for something like scavenging, where if you draw, like, it just exists, and if you draw the skull or autofill during a test, you discard it.
Yeah, yeah, that would be. I think that would be
Even
pretty
if the
sick.
skull or autofail is just like revealed during an investigation.
Yeah, even that'd be okay.
Like, okay, sure, we've now gated the number of times that it could possibly be used.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It might be. It might still be infinite, but
Yeah,
it might
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, there's lots of neat stuff they could do with that.
yeah, that's really cool.
And it makes sealing not awful.
Yeah, yeah. I still remember my heart. Like, even though we know Jim's bad, and we're gonna rag on Jim Week even here in Survivor Week, but I remember with Jim, I was
'cause
like,
he can
I
play
could treat,
cards.
I could treat baseball bat. It'll never break with Jim. No, it's still a skull. It's just choose the modifier 0. I think if you could maybe like choose to treat it as 0, and it's a whole can of worms. But you know, because I think Jim with a baseball bat. I mean, it'd probably be okay. Baseball bat's a good card.
It
Well,
would be
that's a
better
pretty
than
alright
it is
card.
now.
Yeah. And if it never broke, yeah. All right, Travis, you have this one.
Oh yeah, more Mythos interaction, kind of like the 9 of Rods style. So if you guys don't know, 9 of Rods is the red tarot card that came from the Return to the Circle Undone.
It's the only red tarot card.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
pretty much, yeah.
It's 3 experience. It's got the tarot thing where it starts in play if it's in your opening hand, takes up the tarot slot, and then it's like when you draw a non-weakness treachery, you can exhaust it, and you put that one on the bottom of the deck, I think, then draw a new one.
I think you actually just shuffle it in.
You shuffle it and then draw a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be neat to see some other cards like that, like Ward of Protection or Test of Will style, where you play it when you draw a non-weakness treachery, and then you discard that and flip cards from the deck until you hit one that shares a trait or something with it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or, discard an enemy and then flip one until you find one that has less health or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I like, because there's like Magic the Gathering effect. It's what is it, Chaos Warp, where you get rid of something and then like it's a new permanent.
New.
Yeah, it's a new permanent. Stuff like that, where it's just like you have a treachery in your threat area. You can just be like, you're something new, right? And it could be an enemy, it could be another treachery, right? But I think like that could be something that's really cool to explore. The kind of the risk Mythos mitigation, so it's not as steady as Test of Will or Ward of Protection, but it's still like there as an option. I think could be really nice.
Yeah, not quite the same thing, but I think also we need to get some Mythos interaction that like cared about the Mythos discard pile.
Yes, yeah.
Something that like, a Ward of Protection for something, if that card's in the discard pile, a copy of it's in the discard pile, or if there's a copy of it in play.
Like a survivor scavenging for like Mythos protection kind of idea, where it's like they care about the discard pile like for that. I think that could be.
Or
pretty
you
neat.
could like you discard. Oh man, like an asset when you draw a treachery, you can make a test, and if you pass, then you like discard the card you drew and pick one out of the discard pile to draw instead.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Or even to make it even more like on this random thing, like there's a level 0 version where you shuffle the discard pile and draw one from it. So it's kind of like just, I don't like that, but I like what we've seen so far. That actually could be pretty cool.
It's probably going to be better than this.
That actually, I mean, Mythos discard interaction would be really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next up, creature allies. This is actually something we all said. I want more dogs. I want cats. I want rabbits. A fox. Maybe an owl. A hawk would be really cool.
Dogs are like a guardian thing mostly.
But Duke the dog.
Yeah.
He's the main namesake survivor.
He's technically neutral, but also he's special.
Well, there's the Duke Investigator. That's a dog. But I guess there's a dog in each class, so it kind of balances out. I mean, I think they can still get a dog. Old dog. About to die dog. Then it works, right? Yeah. Dog on last legs. I think an owl would be sick, though. Like a bird companion. I think it'd be really cool. Ages ago, I played Assassin's Creed Origins, and you have like a hawk that you can like use to scout things. I think that could be a really cool flavor.
Yeah, look at like adjacent connecting locations, because we know that's not a broken effect.
Yeah.
No, it's not broken.
Yeah, like you could like choose an adjacent location. Like when you move into it this turn, you get a bonus or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
An unrevealed location.
Yeah.
That might be neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of like flavor first stuff they could do with creature design that I think would be really cool to explore.
Yeah. I think this one, like the bird, is going to be a part of the Ardeth Bay
Yes.
character when we inevitably get that expansion.
I mean,
For sure.
I think we should.
It has to happen.
We should design
A custom expansion.
a custom mummy expansion. We really should.
We could.
We've the three of us have never decided to design anything together. That could be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah. We got Rick, we got Evie, we got Jonathan, we got Ardeth, we got Benny. We got our 5.
That's 5, yeah.
So notably, those are the exact investigators that someone also designed, and they're going to be in the same class because someone else has done that on our Discord channel. But we're going to do it, but we're not going to steal their ideas. Just we're going to use the same characters, so just don't worry about it.
Yeah, for what's worth, Brandon and I have never seen them, so yeah.
And there's also, I mean, only 5 real characters in the Mummy that you really want to. Emotep ally, Red Glove Man Emotep, let's go. Anoxina Moon, we're getting sidetracked. But yeah, I think just like even like a clever fox. I think there's a lot of cool animals that you can kind of do this. You said when we were doing this like a zookeeper character.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even like a survivalist, which would fit in the survivor character, like someone who's just like in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Yeah,
could be really
it'd
cool.
be neat if you could like, or like have like a animal speaker sort of thing, and it could like attach creature allies to locations, and then like you get bonuses when they're at that location or something.
Yeah, yeah. And like even though we already got Rod of Animalism, I would love to see them do a survivor version exploring that well, just like we have with like the Miskatonic archaeology funding.
Yeah. I think that would be a cool thing to hit for like each of the
Classes.
the colors.
Yep, yeah.
Like blue one like attaches police assets to it or
Yep.
some stuff.
Criminals for rogues.
Yeah.
Mystics get sorcerers, right? Yeah.
Mystics get stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just like a permanent that that gives you an extra spell slot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
No, I think it would be a
Yeah, extra spell slot, but then like you can't use more than like 2 different activate actions on spells a turn or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
Like some kind of small restriction.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even like, hey, you get 2 extra spell slots, but you don't have an ally slot now.
Yes, yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Anyway, again, this is Survivor.
Yeah, we're still on Mystic. We love those. I mean,
I love Mystics.
There's a reason why Mystics are the most custom content that I've seen is because they're like very wide open and
they're the other
flavorful.
one.
Because they can do anything.
Yeah. All right. Travis.
Yeah.
No, this was you.
And
This was
Bryn.
you. Yeah, and
We
Bryn,
both
yeah.
want this. Yeah, lean more into the fail forward stuff, but explore downsides more. Yeah, so right now, they used to print a lot of fail stuff. We got, some of them were good, like look what I found, and some of them not so good, like oops. But I think that being able to, I think it's really interesting play patterns, being able to power through failing tests and the consequences of them, and then to get benefits based on that, greater than what you were trying to do. I would like to see more cards that kind of mitigate that, similar to Live and Learn, I think, is a great example of that, as opposed to just the infinite amount of health insanity that they have chosen to be the mitigating factor to that.
You don't want to play with oops and mitigate the fact that you just shot your teammate, but it's okay. Because also that guy. Yeah.
Don't worry, I've shot both of you.
That's a win. That's a win, right?
That's like 100% a win.
Yeah.
Mathematically, I mean, there's probably only one enemy in play, and there's 3 of you, so you can afford to kill one of you
Yeah.
to kill the enemy.
It adds up.
Maybe some kind of like resource, rabbit's foot, and gives you 2 resources when you fail. Exhaust to give you 2 resources when you fail a test or something. Or
Well, I mean, like, there's actually that new specialist card, Nose to the Grindstone, that I feel fits very much in this, I think, where, like, the fail thing could be where it's like an asset where if you succeed, you get a benefit, right? Like let's just say like a broken flashlight, right? You succeed, you get a clue, and you get, like, a bonus clue, right? But if you fail, you just, like, draw a card, right? And it's, like, limited uses. So then, like, no matter what, you're doing that Survivor thing where you're, like, trying to use your balanced stat line to your advantage, as opposed to what we've seen from Survivors of late, which is kind of just, I am now just a Guardian or a Seeker because I have 5 fist or 5 foot.
I have big numbers.
While also still having that insane Survivor soak that they have.
yeah, even if like for the downsides part of it, they just had also bonuses for failing, but like in like very narrow situations, like an asset that lets you investigate your location with +2 book, and then if you fail, you get to discover a clue from a connecting location with less shroud than the one you're at or something.
Yeah, start seeing some multi-class, like, yellow-red stuff, where they're like, if you succeed by exactly 2, do this, but if you fail by exactly 2, do a slightly different thing.
That would be neat too.
I'd also love to see, like, fails that you can, like, scale, right? Where it's like a... it's not a look what I found because we already have that, but like a look what I found type thing where, like, if you fail, you can discover a clue, or you could, like, draw the top card of the encounter deck to discard to get 2 clues instead.
That would be cool
right?
too, yeah.
Because I think that precedent works with Drawn to the Flame, so I think that could be neat to see. You can be like, I want to fail, but I want to fail bad.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Sweet.
I can take it.
All right, next up, more weird enemy management like Fend Off and Close Call. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell are Fend Off and Close Call? Great question. They're very weird cards in the Survivor pool.
Not weird, they're normal for Survivor.
Fend Off is when you draw an enemy, it attacks you, and then it never readies again. And Close Call is when you evade an enemy, you can shuffle it into the encounter deck. These are both experience cards. I think they're both level 3. But what I really enjoy is, like, this Survivor way of having just one card that can just solve an enemy, but, like, it has, like, a weird stipulation to
Solve
it.
an
Yeah,
enemy.
yeah, like, that enemy might come back later, but in theory, drawing a lot of enemies is actually sometimes better than treacheries because they don't kill you when you draw them,
Yeah.
right? And then, like, just being able to lock down enemies, I think, is a very rewarding pattern, and we really only have, like, that people play that in Daniela and Kelvin. Which is nice that there's a home for those cards, but I think, like, leveraging that more and having more enemy management that's not just, again, relying on the good weapons, I think is very interesting for the class.
In fairness, if your home is in a Calvin deck, that's like having a cardboard box
Yes, yeah.
out in the junkyard. Like, that's not really. But
It's not really a home though.
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Because at least
Fair
Danielle gets to
enough.
punch the guy too. So
Yep.
you know, yeah.
yeah,
You
and
get
then like
something out of it.
yeah, Calvin's reward is just like big number, which red cards generally don't actually need you to have.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love to see more ways to solve enemies in that survivor way, because they used to have things like bait and switch, which like no one played, for good reason, right? And then there's
'cause
also
it's
like
too awesome.
there's also like lure.
If there's like 2 experience, I think it'd be.
Yeah, like lure is another thing too, where you can like have the enemies go somewhere else, and I think like if you get enough of those weird tools together, you can eventually like manage to build something that's functional, good. I don't know, but that's not what I'm here to answer that question right now.
I think like
Doesn't need to be good, just functional.
Yeah.
I think all that bait and switch needs to actually be good is like better trap cards.
Yes. Yeah. And I think trap
And,
would be like
we're
this
not even
weird
that
random.
far off right now.
Yeah.
We're like
No.
we're almost there.
Yeah, there's a couple of okay ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Next up, Travis.
Yeah, I'd like to see you explore the balanced stat lines more. So, like, recently we've been getting just like 5 in the stat or whatever for them, and that's kind of not very survivory, but whatever. But a lot of the survivors have very flat stat lines where they typically have like 4 in a stat, and then 2 with 3s, and then like a 2. And it can be neat to see cards that let you use that to your advantage. Maybe something that makes you test your like any stat that isn't your highest stat, or they could dip, like we have multi-class cards, they could just dip into the adding skills together that Rogue and Mystic you get, and have a card that lets you, like an investigate asset that lets you add your lowest stat to your book while you investigate. Might also be neat to see a card like that has a high ceiling, so you lets you investigate and you just get an extra clue, but you subtract your lowest stat from your stat value.
That'd be kind of cool.
Which I mean, that supports specialization more, but it would also, it'd be neat to see that kind of stuff and then have it tie into the sort of failing archetypes as well. And
Even like treachery cards that instead of being like test foot penalty, it's like test your lowest stat penalty.
Yeah.
And then like maybe if we even really want to get into it, you can start changing like, hey, if you tested brain, do this. If you tested foot, do this. If you tested punch, do this.
Yep.
Because then we can start targeting investigators with effects that will actually hurt them.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
A little bit more. Because generally speaking, if punch is your lowest number, you're probably going to have lots of blue.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I would like to see them emphasize the sort of inherent flexiness that Survivor gets. You know, like we can also get items that let you test your lower stats for like a stronger effect, but still you can just test them normally. Like you, again, just like an asset that lets you investigate. You get +2 to your skill value for this test, and or investigate with any skill, and if you investigate with your lowest skill, then you get an extra clue if you're successful. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's some cool stuff there. I mean, like, stat line matters, but like your whole stat line, I think, is a very cool design like area to explore. Because I think the only thing we really have that in is Savant, right? That's the only.
There'd also be a neat place to make Calvin more relevant, is have cards that care about like your stat totals.
Yeah. Yeah, because like everyone usually caps. I think it's like
Zero
what is
got
it,
me
12?
again.
The people that cap at, I think. Maybe it's 15.
4 is 12, I think. Because Survivor's like a 4-3-3-2, right?
Yeah.
So it's 4 plus 6 plus
It's
2.
12. Yeah.
It's 12.
So Kelvin could actually get to with.
Get to like 24.
If he can get to 15.
Right, because you can't actually get to 6.
No, he can get to 20. He can get to 20. 20.
No, you can get
We
to
have,
six.
and you have the Terry, you can get to 24, but that would be interesting, right? Like that would be something that he could use. And like then there's also like Dark Horse support, because Dark Horse is kind of like the bigger the card pool got, Dark Horse is kind of like it's better to just spend your resources on like cards as opposed to like Fire Axe or Mariner's Compass as a whole.
Yeah, you get like a skill that's like, if your modified skill value for this test is above a certain thing, then you get a bonus. You discover an extra clue or do extra damage or something like that, regardless of whether you pass. I mean, I guess you still have to pass the test to do it.
Yeah.
But like its own sort of version of succeed by.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be neat. Okay. Next up, Give me more exiled cards. But also, this goes with the next one. Continue expanding on more unfinished archetypes, in quotes.
Like exile.
Like exile. But Travis, before we get into that, I think we should talk about what you said before, how like the unfinished archetypes thing kind of actually feels like it resonates with the survivor class.
Yeah, we talked about this briefly, but like when we're making the list. But I find that it's very flavorful for the survivor class to have these sort of little siloed archetypes that are, quote unquote unfinished, that don't have all the pieces there, and that you're making a deck by. You can't just pick an archetype and build around it like you can for some of the other classes. You have to take bits and pieces from all these different archetypes to kind of cobble together a functional deck, which is very flavorful for the survivors who are just working with what they've got. Right? You have these cards that, you have cards that are like winging it, that reduce the difficulty of your tests, and that plays into the succeed by 0 archetype, but also they get a bonus if you're playing them out of your discard piles, then they synergize with the discard part of the archetype. They're events, so you can play them on your own, and there's just like a lot of small interactions, and you kind of build like this weird spider web archetype between them all.
Yeah. So down to this point here, I think that what I would like to see, especially with the exile stuff, but also even on your own is a great example, is like, because I don't think you need to do more cards that are like, we need to expand the no ally archetype. Like, I think on your own is a good card for that, right? Yep. But I think what you could use to expand on your own is just like more relevant 2-cost or 3-cost survivor events. Because like when you built the Wendy deck, which we play tomorrow on the channel, you end up getting to a point where it's just like,
that's so much money.
Yeah, because it's just like
so rich.
And then like even like when you look at all the events that are there, you're like, there's actually not that many like survivor events that I want to be playing with this on your own, right? So like having more of those would be great to see, and also just like the more cards that exile, right? The better exile is just gonna get. Like maybe like another payoff card, like a card you can play that is like, if you exile a card, draw 3 cards, right? Like something like that. Like it's like, so then it can impact in there. But then also just more cards that exile are good. I wouldn't be upset if we never saw more dilemmas, because I like despise dilemmas for just some reason. They shake me to my core. But like just like more like cards that work with stuff that we have already would, I think, be really cool.
Maybe get an ally that just like is like 3 costs or whatever, and 2 and 2, and as a lightning bolt you can discard them to return to play a card that you've, like an exiled event or something like that, maybe on an asset, or like return it to your hand. Something like that might be neat. Yeah, like I mentioned this while we're making the list as well, but I think that the issue with the exiled archetype isn't that there aren't enough cards for it, it's the cards that exist suck. Yeah.
Because like, what are you exiling? You're exiling Flare. That's a good one. Flare's the good one. Burn After Reading is busted.
Cherish Keepsake and the Leather Coat are good if you don't plan to recur them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're also good in that like 4 is a lot, and if you need to soak 4, then
you don't have a way to get rid of them?
Possibly you should reassess your choices.
Yeah. Like, Fire Extinguisher 3 is good, but why are you exiling it?
Yeah.
Guiding Spirit's fine.
Yeah, and then
Unscrupulous Loan. Fine. Yeah. Oh, the Castle Cover. Oh,
yeah. The Tested Wills are good, but also, like, you don't really, like, jump for joy at being able to, like, put that back into your deck.
You don't really care.
Yeah. And then, like, the other ones...
Fortune Fate's fine, yeah.
Britain I learned Stroke of Luck is alright.
Stroke of Luck is pretty alright.
Yeah. But it is that 100%. There's just, like, so, like, more exile cards, just, like, more things that you want to exile and then, like, bring back with Deja Vu.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the change to the format, if the Stella Clark deck isn't staying in print, I can't imagine they're going to continue to support exile. It might be one of those things that
they just Deja Vu reprint.
Just sweep it under the rug. And, like they be engaged with a Jillian enemies archetype.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just going to pretend that.
They're like, what? Yeah, what archetype? Yeah.
You tell me that infighting isn't a good card?
I'm telling you that it is not a good card.
No.
Wow.
I do feel like they either need to do new investigator packs or keep them in there.
Sucks. Yeah, that's fair. I would like to see them do new ones.
I think so. I think new ones would be nicer, because then they can have like new staples going forward that is like core plus, Yeah. All right, and then maybe they will get a new Deja Vu. Who knows? Okay. All right. What's next? Yeah, this one I thought would actually be kind of neat because this kind of expands on the mystic thing that we talked about. But cards that play around with trauma, but not in a mystical or mythos way, but actually in like the good old fashioned I have trauma
the good
way.
old-fashioned, like mom and dad never liked each other.
Yeah, like the kind of like the mental and physical trauma that is a little bit more of that kind of grounded realist survivor type thing, right? Because we have that. That's like Calvin Wright's whole thing, and then they were like, that's it. You know, like you are not going to support him. He's just going to be this guy who's just hanging out here. And I think that it's like the opposite side of the mystical thing, right? Like where like there's like the mystic one we were in the wish list for that. So the idea is like you're using dark magic and then you get trauma with that, right? But like a survivor just punching a guy like so hard, pushing himself to his limit and like getting trauma because of that. It kind of also sits in that same world where like, I remember we talked about in the mystical ones where it's like, if you just bring it to the last scenario, it kind of defeats the purpose. But Survivor kind of already has that with Exile, right? So it's like one of those things where it's just like, I think it could be a cool thing to try to see on that side.
If you get like a skill that commits for a wild and it adds 2 wild for each trauma you have.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Like you get benefits for it. Or like you said, you could, a fight event like brutal fisting. I mean, like that. But you could like choose to... You could like lose a hand slot for the remainder of the scenario and take a physical trauma to like 3 extra damage or something.
Just
you punch him so hard you like shatter your wrist or whatever.
Well, I think even in this design space of like us talking about how like the mystics spend it, the survivors care about thresholds for it could be really cool, and then would also work really well for Calvin Wright, where it's like a brute force where you add your trauma as a bonus, right? Like that could be kind of neat. That could, and I'm honestly getting a maimed hand from busting a guy's face open would be really cool.
Oh, it's like a brute force, but if you draw the skull or the auto,
your hand breaks.
You get
Let's
physical
go.
trauma. You have to discard a hand slot item.
Wow. Let's go.
That'd be so cool.
That would be pretty sweet.
I think most of the permanents that deal with trauma should have been red instead of neutral. Like in the thick of it should have been red instead of neutral.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Buy some exile cards?
Well, honestly, that makes it like...
Who cares?
I mean, that would actually be a great addition to sort of the exile archetype to like jumpstart it if you have a particularly rough scenario and you play a bunch of them.
Well, because like that's kind of one of those things where the issue with exile is that you have to like spend Deja Vu first, right? So like having a way to just like...
Or not buy Deja Vu at all and use those 5 points to buy your...
Yeah, to buy more exile cards, right?
Back.
So like having like a little like boost at the start in the thick of it, specific just for Survivor, I think would be really,
I think
really
also
smart.
that like that other one that you can buy to reduce your trauma by 1, that should have been a red card as well.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like,
cool,
this is card. Like, am I hurt really bad? Yeah, but the job still needs to be done. So
yeah.
There's no other way out.
And I survive because that's my class. I don't seek, I don't guard.
You can like help moderate the like the archetype, like not just die accidentally. Maybe.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Maybe they get a permanent that you can like spend. It costs like 1 or 2 experience, and then it lets you take a trauma to heal 2 trauma of the other kind. So that way you don't have to walk. So like when you're intentionally getting all your trauma, you don't have to walk into a scenario. You're like, I'm a 9/5 guy with 4 brain trauma.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be some neat space to explore.
For sure.
And, like,
That'd be really cool.
I think should have been red the whole time. Because what do we need to take in the thick of it in every deck? I mean, like, well, you can.
I usually do.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to argue with.
The only time I really don't is when I'm Mark Harrigan. He's the only one who doesn't really make the cut.
Yeah, because like Mark Harrigan is
because
like secretly a
it's
5
card. Yeah, and he
so.
also like gets like he turned that thing into card draw, which is so good.
The only time I don't really is when I'm building a standalone deck because it feels kind of like cheating.
It does kind of feel like cheating, doesn't
that's
it?
like kind of lazy.
Yeah,
I usually
I
don't
want
when
to
I
take it
have
out.
a draft deck and it is not in my pool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a good time.
I don't take it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it being a red card would have fixed a lot of what I don't like about that card.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
I agree. I think that's it. That's it!
Wow.
Well, those are our Survivor wishlist ideas. Let us know in the comments what you have on the Survivor wishlist, and if you want to see us build a Mummy Investigator pack.
Because we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do it anyway. But now it's gonna look like we're listening, which makes gets us like some PBG brownie points. Yeah. So, but if you say you don't want to see it, I will actually
those
cry.
for brownies.
You guys can't, no. Because we lost the bear claws, we're not allowed to legally talk about them anymore.
Those aren't brownies.
I know, but we have to stop this conversation.
Okay.
Big Brother Bear is watching.
Okay, we'll talk about it after.
Actually, I was at the grocery store and I saw some pink Barbie Barbie ones that were like covered in frosting. I was like, those would probably be bad, but they would be a great.
Probably taste awful.
Those would probably be great to bring back. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.